Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome back to our channel once again. William Ruto and Kenya Kwanza leaders today faced the wrath of Gen Zs live during a church service in Nyahururu. William Ruto was literally trembling and shaking.
For the terminally ill and all who are living with dreadful scourges, that they may be comforted in their suffering, may they place all their hope in you, and hence find peace that passes all understanding. For doctors and scientists in the medical research who spent many hours in various laboratories of the world in search of cures for diseases. For the little...
In this video, I want us to do a critical analysis about the whole event in Nyahururu. But first of all, allow me to go through this story on the Daily Nation. They've captured it so well. This is what the Daily Nation is reporting. Several Kenya Kwanza members of parliament and leaders who accompanied President William Ruto to a church function in Nyahururu Primary School in Nyahururu town on Sunday fled the venue to avoid a confrontation with the protesters. You elect leaders, they attend a church service, then wanatoroka because they fear you. It proceeds. The leaders sneaked out of the venue to avoid a confrontation with the youth camping outside the school. Remember, they were in that school. The police screened those, they allowed some. The suspects were told, Nyinyi, we don't need you, you remain outside. Now these are the group which were waiting for them to come. The report proceeds. President Ruto, his deputy Rigathi Gachagua, and Kenya Kwanza luminaries had attended the consecration of ACK's third bishop, Major Samson Buru. Okay, that was the event. Let me just read for you some 2 or 3 more paragraphs here. The leaders who were caught off guard were seen running in all directions as they tried to locate their vehicles, forcing some of them to jump into any available vehicle. You see, these guys, they were there in the church. They thought things were okay. You know, they could hear sound, but they thought, this is just normal. We have the president here, if anything. He's the president, he's the head of the state. He's the commander-in-chief. He has all the intelligence. So let us relax. So when they got outside, then they came face to face with the Gen Zs outside. So they were like, how do we live? Let me read for you the interesting part of this story. They were left confused after the presidential escort team hurriedly whisked the president away when they realized the protesters were at the gate waiting for the president and his team. The president was just about to leave when the youth started shouting, Ruto must go, and reject the finance bill. The peaceful demonstrators were armed with Kenyan flags and placards denouncing the finance bill and the president. At one point, the chanting protesters overpowered the police to gain access to the school playground as they sought an audience with the head of state. But the president, who was very brief in his address to the church, slipped out of the venue in the confusion. So it means when the president started speaking now, they were there. So actually they were waiting for the president to start speaking. Then some of them were able to get in. And during that confusion, President now we are talking of none other than William Samoei Arap Ruto, a man who would address the same people in the same church. The church would be full and others would be outside the church, the same church, waiting for him, clapping for him. And let me tell you again, William Ruto is going to be a one-term president unless a miracle is going to happen.
County Commissioner Ruto must go! County Commissioner Ruto must go! Ruto must go! Afande Ruto must go!
I noted a few things during this event. Three very important things, because just like I told you, I want us to analyze the whole event. But before we do that, in case you're watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click that subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support, because without that support, the channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, allow me to dive in. And by the way, before I dive in, the Gen Zs lost two of their own during the mandamanos. There is Rex, and then there is also Evans. So they've organized themselves and they are raising funds for Evans and Rex. As part of the struggle, I want to pin for you guys the link to that Mchanga account so that you can also contribute. By the time of doing this video, I think they've already hit close to 3 million within 3 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, the three things which I observed: number one, the screening of worshippers. It's the first time I was witnessing real screening. You know, we normally go to church. We live in Kenya. We've seen William Ruto attending these functions, attending church events, even in the same place. But the kind of screening yesterday, to me, was disrespectful even to the church. I witnessed with my own eyes the security checking the pastors and bishops. For me, that was low. So, but why do you think they were screening people? The truth is, they didn't want the protesters, the Gen Zs, to get in. I'm told that they would just judge you by looking at your face. Wewe, weka kando, wamama waingi. The second thing I also noticed is the fact that politicians were actually locked out from speaking. Why do you think they were locked out from speaking? Because Rigathi Gachagua even tried to sneak in a politician to speak. But Ole Sapit said no. The truth of the matter is that the church is also in a state of panic. They don't know what the youths are thinking about them, because the youths were also occupying most churches across the country.
Okay, good morning, church.
Morning.
My name is Michael. I'd like to start with a Thanksgiving fast. On both Tuesday and Thursday, my sister and I went for the protest in the CBD. So I'd like to thank God for his favor, because we could have easily been Rex, Masai, or Billy. Secondly, the NCCK church and the mosque have come out condemning the finance bill. So as we continue paying for the country, I think it's deeply important that we get the stance of the IC church as well.
I'll pray for the country, because we do not know the will of God on the finance bill, and we don't know what is behind it. So, Michael, you'll allow me to pray for the will of God.
Let's give him a round of applause for expressing himself.
And remember, some of these MPs, blah, blah, are old people. So which means for the church to survive, they need the younger generation. So if the younger generation are feeling that they're going to bed with the oppressors, then definitely they're to try and protect. I think the church is trying now to be seen to be on the right side of history. So that's something which also came out very clearly, stopping the leaders from speaking. And I also observed that Kimani Ichung'wah was missing. I also observed that Ndindi Nyoro was missing. Kimani Ichung'wah is the leader of the majority. Ndindi Nyoro is the chair of the budget. Two critical dockets. Probably it was by design that they don't attend this event. The third thing which I also observed was the messaging, especially from the pastors. Their messaging. In fact, if you listened very closely, let me just play for you this clip of this pastor. Very powerful speech. And of course, always a bit.
Wale wako kwa viongozi, tunaomba mali huko kulikuwa na wengine. Hiyo chondo uko nayo ni kuongeza tu zile nyuzi mpaka chondo ikae sawa. Tusipomoe chondo hata nyumbani. Usianje nyumba rabu pomoe. Hata kanisa namna hiyo, wachungaji wetu wa Nyahururu, hiyo chondo ya Paris usipomoe. Endelea kuijenga imarike zaidi. Hata nchi yetu ya Kenya, tunajua tuko na rais na deputy. Hii chondo ya Kenya isipomolewe. Chondo ya Kenya injengwe, nyuzi siongezewe mpaka chondo iwe iko tayari kuwekwa matunda na vitu mingi. Mungu atufariki, atusaidie kufuata yale yote amesema siku ya leo na ile.
So for me, after studying the events as they unfolded in Nyahururu, I'm making the following conclusion. The first conclusion I'm making is that the church will no longer provide the ground for politicians in the Republic of Kenya. You know, the politicians turned the church into their political playground. The Gen Zs are telling the church, not anymore. Because in the church is where they find the parents of these kids. They use the church to lie to the parents of these kids. So these kids are telling them, we are not going to allow you to continue using the same platform to continue lying for our parents. Because remember, one of the things these guys are doing is simple. They are saying they don't want to make the mistakes which their parents made. And that's why everybody is acknowledging that they are totally different, even the way they are approaching these mandamanos. So the issue of church and politics is going to be a thing of the past. Remember, in 2022, the church became one of William Ruto's main support system. Whenever William Ruto wanted to play his politics, he would pick a church, give them money, and they would embrace him. As a matter of fact, the Gen Zs are also feeling that the church are the beneficiaries of blood money. My second conclusion, and this is very, very important, is that William Ruto is totally out of touch with the Gen Z's demands. I listened to William Ruto's speech and I was like, this guy is not understanding these guys. William Ruto is mentioning allocating some 50 million to CDF. I mean, these guys don't care about CDF. They don't. William Ruto is also talking about addressing their concerns through help, more allocations to help, how the budget is going to cover that. That is not the problem of these guys. And because William Ruto is out of touch, allow me to go back a bit and help him understand where this rebellion by Gen Zs actually began. If you are keen, this rebellion by the Gen Zs actually began during COVID, for those who might not know. But what happened? William Ruto saw it and he was able to convince them. He was able to give them hope. And that's why after COVID, majority of young people found shelter under William Ruto. Now William Ruto, who was carrying their hope, got into power. But what is William Ruto doing? He's freezing employment. Then next, any employment opportunity is for the old people. William Ruto is recycling very old people. Very old people. And appointing. These guys are watching. And these are guys, you want to tell them, like William Ruto was telling them about help. You know, they don't care about that. Why? These guys have seen their elder siblings graduate, go through the system, graduate, 15 years down the lane, no job. So if you tell them about the education system, yeah, what these guys need is just an enabling environment. These guys are telling William Ruto that for us, we can do ABCD. I also heard William Ruto telling them about the ICT hubs in each constituency. That's not what these guys want. What these guys want is for them to be able to access a mobile phone, which they can use to make money. The Gen Zs are too creative to an extent that some of them realized that there are certain jobs you can actually do online. And those jobs, maybe they're not meant for Kenyans. If you reside in Kenya, maybe Canada, US, I know some of them, Canada, US, those countries. So what do? They use their gadgets because they are technologically advanced. They use their gadgets. Then they bypass the IP addresses. They go into those countries, maybe use their siblings and blah, blah, to create for them an account. And then they start making money. And the money is wired to them through PayPal or just accessing the money through those accounts after someone opened to them for them online. And that's why they were very mad when the other day, you remember when William Ruto talked of, which site was that? There was one where William Ruto talked about, and then 3 days later, those guys decided for Kenya, no. Because Kenya was actually not part of it. So they went into their system and they realized that there's a lot of traffic from Kenya. So those guys, what they want the government to do for them, which Ruto has not yet understood, is that they just need low taxation on the gadgets they're using. So just lower for them the cost of data, the cost of cameras, the cost of laptops, and any other gadget that they are using. Tripods, those ring lights, because they make content and they make money. And sadly for them, the government is doing nothing. They become very innovative. They start making their own money. Then the Huyo Ruto, poop, we want to tax, digital tax, what. So they are very bitter. The third thing which I also observed is that this movement is actually gaining the momentum from online, and it's gaining the momentum, and that momentum is national. If you want to know why William Ruto should be worried, yesterday, Tamasha Club in Eldoret, lights went off at a specific time. Then people started singing, Ruto must go, Ruto must go. Young people and several other clubs. So William Ruto should be a worried man. And lastly, and my last conclusion, based on the reaction of the congregation in all churches today, these Gen Zs, they have the support of their parents. It's like their parents have now given up. Sisi, we failed. Can you try and correct those mistakes? That's why even Ole Sapit acknowledged that on Thursday, when he was coming from Narok to his home, he found these guys demonstrating somewhere. Then he had his son in the car. The son decided to jump out and joined those people because according to the son, those are his age mates. So I don't know what to think, but that's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.